Hey guys, welcome to my channel, Run Free and Strong. I'm Rayto. It's Sunday Fun Day, and we're back in Larkin State Park for our Sunday long run. We're wrapping up week 3 of our recovery from the Yeti 100-mile virtual ultra. Things are going well, slowly ramping up to time on my feet and a weekly mileage. Last weekend I ran back-to-back 10-mile progression runs. This weekend I want to do a little bit more. So yesterday, Saturday, I ran another 10-mile progression run, and today's Sunday. We'll see if we can go a little bit longer. About 2 miles in, 20 minutes, slow going. My right glute and hamstring still feeling a little tight. It's a easy day, LSD, long slow distance. So we're just gonna let it warm up, get the time on the feet, get the miles, and enjoy the day. It's another crazy, awesome, beautiful day. About 60 Fahrenheit, probably 15-ish plus or minus Celsius. Sunny, slightly overcast, no wind. Nice change from yesterday. I did my 10-miler, which was rainy, windy, foggy, and cold. Just past the 7-mile point and struggling a little bit today, physically and mentally. Felt great going out, but 7 miles into my run, struggling. So today's just one of those days when we're gonna grind it out, see how far we can go. Just past the 10-mile point, hour 35. So going slow, still struggling. Gonna finish it, just push through it. Should be able to go about 15 miles. Hey guys, I'm back home. 15 miles done, 2 hours, 25 minutes, 13 seconds. Boy, this one was a struggle, physically and mentally. Happy that Monday is a day off. And let's take a look at the week in review up next. And we'll also talk a bit more about Stryd Form Power. And we'll do a deep dive into a 10-mile progression run and some strides and see what Stryd shows us on those type of workouts. Let's first review the week of December 7th. I've opened the Stryd Power Center calendar. Quick recap, 41 miles or 66 kilometers on 6 days. Monday, as usual, was a day off for me. 6 hours and 40 minutes time on feet, which is an improvement over the prior week. And I did back-to-back long runs this week, 10 miles on Saturday and 15 miles on Sunday, or 16 and 24 kilometers, which prior week was a 10 plus 10. So again, an improvement over last week. Where I came up a little bit short was last week I did strides on 4 days, and this week I did strides on 3 days, and part of that was the Tuesday run at Trout Brook Valley Preserve was a technical trail run, and I was unable to do strides after that. For the week I had about 4,500 feet of vertical gain, or about 1,400 meters, which is not a lot. I did not do an Appalachian Trail run this week, so it stayed relatively flat. Overall, I'm really happy with the week. This is my third week of recovery since my Yeti 100-mile virtual ultramarathon. Things are going well. I need to pay attention to my right glute and hamstring a little bit. One of the reasons I stayed flat. One of the things I started to talk about in last week's review, episode 4, was the Stryd Form Power, and particularly the Form Power Ratio, which is a measure of running economy. As a trail and ultra runner, one of the things that I really want to improve is my running economy. We run so many miles, so many hours, so many steps that running economy becomes really important. I've now pulled up Saturday's 10-mile progression run in Waveney Park, which I ran in 1 hour, 27 minutes, and 30 seconds. Had nominal elevation gain about 857 feet. The top portion, we can see a visual that shows the elevation profile in gray, and on top of that, we see both the power output in yellow and the pace in blue. There are a couple of things I wanted to highlight on this page. To the right, underneath the topographical map, in an area, time and zones, we see that about 84% of my run was in zones 2 and 3, so below my lactate level. Looking at the splits table, we can see outlined the pace, and I started first mile about 9:25 mile pace and dropped it 10th mile all the way to 7:50 mile pace, so we see the progression. And it does jump around a little bit, but there are a couple of hills in there, so if we were to smooth that out, it would be a very nice progression. Continuing with Form Power Ratio, or FPR, I've circled the 0.27 ratio for mile 10. I mentioned last week that Stryd considers anything 0.25 and below as good. And the one right next to it, GCT, or ground contact time, is the number of milliseconds that my foot is on the ground. So again, we see that coming down as my pace picks up, and 2:30 is the best in mile 10. One of the things I like about Stryd is I can click on any of these miles to do a further drill down. So let's look at the underlying detail for mile 10. Data at the top has been zoomed in for just mile 10, and we see the 750 pace, 1 mile distance, 84 feet of vertical gain for this 1 mile segment. With the mouse, we can traverse this mile graph and hover over with a call out at 9.94 miles, and we see the power there is 274 watts. My pace was 745 per mile. That is the max power output for the entire run. It does happen to be going up a hill. I am moving at a very fast pace. I am towards the end of my run where I'm a little bit tired. So this to me is a good indication of where I think the Stryd critical power for me should be, not 211, but probably in the 270s. And the reason I say that is if we look at the time in zones, again underneath the topo map to the right, I spent about 28% in zone 3 and 64% or the majority in zone 4. There is a correlation between running faster and running with better economy. As I moved through this progression run, my FPR, or Form Power Ratio, improved. We're going to take a look at some strides. Strides done after a run, when we're a little bit tired, are a great way to work on the neuromuscular connection between mind and muscles. They're also a great way to work on running economy. It's really hard to run fast and sloppy. So when I do strides, I really get into a zone and I focus on my form. And we can see that when we look at the data. After Saturday's progression run, which is a medium hard effort, I jogged to a flat grassy area to do 4 by 100 meter strides on grass. The 400 meters total lapse time is 1 minute 35 seconds. My power output was 221 watts. My average pace is 6:16. Form power ratio was great, 0.19, so definitely below the 0.25 even though I ran these on grass. Let's go to the detailed drill down. We're going to hover over the second stride and look at the detail. The yellow line represents the power, and we see that picking up as I ran these with a standing start. And we can see the pace increase over time. And the last thing that I highlighted was the ground contact time. And we see that initially going up as we're starting our stride and then going down substantially. I hovered over the second stride and moved the mouse cursor right to the end where I had reached maximum speed. The power is 276 watts. The pace is 529. Even though the average pace for the 4 strides is 6 minutes 16 seconds per mile, that obviously factors in the standing start and then the acceleration until reaching top speed. And the ground contact time is 184 milliseconds, so extremely low. The data reinforces the importance of running strides after a medium to long run to improve both the neuromuscular connection as well as the running economy. Hopefully it was helpful to look at Stryd Power data behind a 10-mile progression run and the 4 strides, with a particular emphasis on the form power ratio as a measure indicator of running economy and the kind of workouts that we can do to work on things like the power output, the form power ratio, the ground contact time, and so on. For me, this is interesting. I still go out and do a lot of runs by feel, and it doesn't take away from the enjoyment for me, but it is useful for me to see some of the data, especially as I start to look at this over time, over weeks and months and over a full year, and see whether things that I'm working on actually show up in the data and prove out that I'm doing the right thing. If you liked the video, I would appreciate it if you give it a huge thumbs up. Please leave a comment below. What other kind of things are you working on in your running? If you haven't subscribed to my channel, would appreciate you smashing that subscribe button to follow my journey. I'm uploading content 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Thanks very much for watching, and see you in the next one.